we estimate by tens of billions of dollars a year, and most importantly, higher productivity. Today is about freeing Americans from the weight, literally and figuratively, that holds us back. It's about unlocking the potential of every citizen to live fully, to contribute fully, and to find joy in their health. We cannot reach our full potential as a nation if we do not reach our full potential as individuals. And we cannot reach our full potential as individuals if we are not healthy. Thanks to Nova and Lily for showing up so constructively over the last several months to make this possible. In particular, thanks to you, Mr. President, for again demonstrating that you fight for every American, this time for potential.
Okay, so what I'm about to tell you is one of the most dramatic courtroom moments we have seen in any Trump-related case, and it perfectly illustrates what happens when Trump's legal strategy collides with the reality of having to actually prove things in front of a judge and jury. A star defense witness, someone Trump's team brought in specifically to undercut the prosecution's case, completely collapsed on the stand. I mean, fell apart, contradicted himself, became combative and defensive, got so out of control that the judge had to clear the courtroom just to restore order. Legal analysts who were present say this was not just embarrassing for Trump's lawyers, it destroyed a core pillar of his defense and gave prosecutors a massive psychological advantage heading into trial. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
It's truly an honor to be here today for this historic step forward to expand access to a class of medications that can fundamentally change the arc of chronic disease in our country. Of course, these are the incretin or GLP-1 agonists that we've been speaking about. For nearly 150 years, my company, Eli Lilly, has been investing in America. We've been advancing science and creating high-value jobs. But today, are you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
Let me paint the picture of what happened because the details are extraordinary. This witness was supposed to be important for Trump's case. Defense lawyers put him on the stand, expecting him to deliver testimony that would help their client. Instead, what they got was a disaster. According to detailed reporting from people in the courtroom, the witness started rushing through his answers, speaking too fast and seeming nervous. Then he became defensive when prosecutors started asking follow-up questions. Then he got combative, arguing with the lawyers instead of just answering what was asked. And here is the worst part. He repeatedly contradicted his own prior statements, things he had said before under oath, things that were documented. He was contradicting himself in real time in front of the jury. The jurors noticed. Of course they noticed. When a witness falls apart on the stand, when they cannot keep their story straight, when they get hostile and evasive, jurors see that. They are not stupid. They know what it looks like when someone is not telling the truth or when someone's testimony cannot be trusted. And this witness was sending every signal imaginable that his credibility was shot. The visible confusion among the jurors was apparent to observers. People in the courtroom could see the jury reacting to what was happening, and that reaction was not good for Trump. The situation got so bad that the judge had to intervene. This is not normal. Judges generally try to let testimony proceed without stepping in. They let lawyers do their jobs. They let witnesses answer questions. But this judge looked at what was happening and decided action was necessary. The judge publicly reprimanded Trump's lawyers for the spectacle. Think about that. A judge calling out the defense team in front of everyone for putting this witness on the stand. And then the judge cleared the courtroom. Actually ordered everyone to leave temporarily to get the situation under control. That is an extraordinary step that tells you just how badly things had gone off the rails. Legal commentators who analyzed what happened used devastating language. They described it as a near total collapse of Trump's legal strategy. They said the witness now has zero credibility. They said jurors are likely to hold it against the defense for putting such an unreliable person on the stand in the first place. When your own witnesses hurt you worse than the prosecution's witnesses, that is a catastrophic failure. That is the kind of thing that loses cases, and it happened in plain sight in a courtroom where the stakes could not be higher. And this collapse fits into a broader pattern that we have seen with Trump-connected witnesses. People close to Trump face enormous pressure. They know Trump attacks witnesses publicly. They know his supporters go after people who testify against him. They know the stakes of saying the wrong thing, either angering Trump or getting caught in a lie. That pressure cooker environment produces exactly the kind of breakdowns we saw in this courtroom. Witnesses panic. They crack under cross-examination. They contradict themselves because they cannot keep track of what they are supposed to say. Some have needed medical attention around testimony because the stress is so intense. Judges have had to issue protective orders and special accommodations because of concerns about witness safety and stability. Trump has spent years cultivating an atmosphere of intimidation around legal proceedings. He attacks judges, he attacks prosecutors, he attacks witnesses. He encourages his supporters to do the same. And for a while, that strategy seemed to work. People were afraid to testify or cooperate. But here's the thing about intimidation. It can backfire badly. Witnesses who are terrified make terrible witnesses. People who are worried about what Trump will say about them cannot focus on telling a coherent story. The fear that Trump has cultivated can make his own witnesses unreliable in exactly the moments when he needs them most. So in this video, we are going to break down exactly what happened with this witness collapse and why it matters so much for Trump's legal situation. We are going to look at how cross-examination exposed the problems with his testimony. We are going to examine the judge's extraordinary intervention and what it signals about how the court views Trump's defense. And we are going to connect this to the broader pattern of Trump's courtroom bluster colliding with reality. Let us get into it. All right, so let us really dig into what happened in that courtroom, because the details reveal both the immediate disaster and the deeper problems with how Trump approaches legal proceedings. This was not just one bad day for one witness. It was a window into why Trump's aggressive approach to litigation keeps producing catastrophic results. The witness in question was presented by Trump's defense team as someone who could help their case. Defense lawyers put him on the stand with a clear purpose: to undercut some aspect of the prosecution's narrative. In a trial, you call witnesses because you believe their testimony will help your client. You prepare them. You go over what questions will be asked. You make sure they understand what points need to be made, and then you put them in front of the jury and hope they deliver. This witness did not deliver. He imploded. According to the detailed reporting from observers in the courtroom, the problem started almost immediately. The witness was rushing through his answers, speaking quickly as if he wanted to get off the stand as fast as possible. That kind of rushed testimony is a red flag. It suggests discomfort. It suggests the person is not confident in what they are saying. Jurors pick up on those signals. They notice when a witness seems eager to escape rather than willing to explain their testimony fully. Then the questioning intensified and the witness became defensive. Cross-examination is supposed to be challenging. That is the whole point. The opposing side gets to test whether a witness's testimony holds up under scrutiny. Good witnesses stay calm. They answer the questions directly. They do not take the bait when lawyers try to rattle them. But this witness did not stay calm. He got defensive when his testimony was challenged. He pushed back against questions. He argued with the prosecutor instead of just answering what was asked. Defensive witnesses are bad witnesses. When you get defensive, it looks like you have something to hide. It looks like you are trying to protect yourself rather than just telling the truth. Jurors see a defensive witness and they wonder, why is this person fighting so hard? What are they afraid of? That reaction undermines everything the witness is trying to say. Even if the underlying testimony is accurate, which in this case it apparently was not, defensive delivery makes jurors skeptical. And then came the contradictions. The witness started saying things that contradicted his own prior statements, not the prosecution's claims, his own claims. Things he had said before under oath, things that were documented and could be checked. When a prosecutor confronts a witness with their own prior inconsistent statements, and the witness cannot explain the inconsistency, that is devastating. It shows the witness either lied before or is lying now. Either way, their credibility is destroyed. You cannot trust someone who contradicts themselves on important facts. The contradictions reportedly happened repeatedly. Not just once, multiple times during the testimony. Each contradiction compounded the damage. Each inconsistency gave jurors another reason to discount everything this witness said. By the time it was over, the witness had, in the words of legal analysts, zero credibility. Nothing he said could be trusted because he had demonstrated he would say different things at different times, depending on what seemed convenient. The judge's intervention underscores how bad this was. Judges generally stay out of witness testimony. They let the examination proceed. They rule on objections when lawyers raise them, but they do not typically insert themselves into the substance of what is happening. For a judge to step in and reprimand defense lawyers, to publicly criticize them for putting this witness on the stand, that is extraordinary. It signals that the judge viewed what was happening not as normal, rough and tumble litigation, but as something that crossed a line. The defense had done something so damaging to their own case and so disruptive to the proceedings that the court felt compelled to say something. And then, clearing the courtroom. That is an even more dramatic step. Courts are supposed to be public, trials are supposed to be open. When a judge orders everyone out, even temporarily, it means the situation has become unmanageable. The witness had apparently gotten so out of control that normal proceedings could not continue. The judge needed to restore order before anything else could happen. Think about what that looks like to the jury. Think about the impression it creates when a judge has to stop everything and clear the room because the defense's witness has created such chaos. Now let us connect this to the broader pattern of Trump-related witness problems. This is not an isolated incident. Over the years, we have seen repeated examples of witnesses connected to Trump struggling with testimony. Some have appeared terrified on the stand. Some have needed medical attention around their testimony. Some have broken down emotionally. The pressure surrounding Trump cases is unlike anything in normal litigation. There are public attacks. There are threats. There is the knowledge that Trump himself will comment on what you say and mobilize his supporters based on whether he likes your testimony. That environment produces witnesses who are not thinking clearly, who are focused on fear and self-preservation rather than simply telling the truth. Defense lawyers have to know this. They have to understand that putting Trump-connected witnesses on the stand is risky because of the pressure these people are under. And yet they did it anyway with this witness. They put someone on the stand who clearly could not handle cross-examination. They exposed their own witnesses' contradictions in front of the jury. They created a spectacle so damaging that the judge had to intervene. Whatever benefit they hoped to get from this testimony, they got the opposite. They hurt their own case in ways that cannot be undone. Prosecutors watched this happen. They did not even have to work that hard, and the witness destroyed himself. But they had a front row seat to the collapse of a pillar of Trump's defense. That gives them confidence going forward. They know the defense has reliability problems. They know the witnesses Trump's team puts forward may crack under pressure. That psychological advantage is real, and it will affect how the rest of the case unfolds. Okay, so let us break this down into what you really need to understand about this witness collapse and what it tells us about Trump's legal situation and approach to litigation, because this is not just one dramatic courtroom moment. It reveals deeper problems with how Trump operates in legal proceedings. First point, the witness collapse destroyed a core defense argument. Defense lawyers do not put witnesses on the stand randomly. They call specific people to make specific points. This witness was there to help Trump's case in some identifiable way, and instead of helping, he hurt. Whatever argument the defense was trying to make through this witness, that argument is now weaker than before he testified. Jurors heard contradictions. They saw combativeness. They watched the judge intervene. All of that attaches to the defense's credibility. The witness did not just fail to help, he actively damaged Trump's position. Second point, contradicting your own prior statements is fatal to credibility. This is trial advocacy basics. If you have said something before under oath and you say something different now, one of those statements is not true. Maybe you lied before, maybe you are lying now, but you are definitely not reliable. Jurors understand this intuitively. They do not need legal training to know that a witness who contradicts himself cannot be trusted. And when those contradictions happen repeatedly, when the witness cannot keep his story straight even within a single testimony session, there is nothing left of his credibility. Zero credibility is exactly the right description. Third point, the judge's intervention sent a powerful signal. When a judge reprimands defense lawyers and clears the courtroom, that is not normal. That tells jurors the court itself views what happened as problematic. Judges are supposed to be neutral arbiters. They do not usually criticize one side in front of the jury, but this judge apparently felt compelled to act. That action communicates to everyone watching, including the jury, that something went seriously wrong with the defense's presentation. The court's disapproval attaches to Trump's legal team. Fourth point, this fits the pattern of Trump witnesses cracking under pressure. The environment around Trump litigation is toxic. Witnesses know they will be publicly attacked if Trump does not like what they say. They know his supporters will target them. They know their lives can become nightmares. That pressure produces exactly the kind of witness failures we saw in this courtroom. People who are terrified cannot think clearly. People who are trying to please multiple audiences at once, tell the truth but also not anger Trump, but also avoid prosecution for perjury, get confused and contradict themselves. The intimidation atmosphere Trump has cultivated backfires when his own witnesses fall apart. Fifth point, prosecutors gained a major psychological advantage. Watching the opposing side's witness collapse is a gift for prosecutors. They did not have to manufacture this disaster. It happened organically. Now they know the defense has witness reliability problems. They know pressure can cause Trump's people to crack. They know jurors have seen with their own eyes how unreliable Trump's witnesses can be. That knowledge affects everything going forward. Prosecutors can be more aggressive because they have seen vulnerability. The defense has lost confidence because they experienced catastrophic failure. Sixth point. This is what happens when courtroom bluster meets legal reality. Trump's approach to legal problems has always been more about public relations than actual legal strategy. Attack the judge, attack the prosecutors, claim victimhood, generate outrage. That works in the court of public opinion, or at least in the court of his supporters' opinion. But it does not work in an actual courtroom. In a courtroom, you have to prove things. You have to present reliable evidence. Your witnesses have to withstand cross-examination, and when those witnesses fall apart, when they contradict themselves and become combative and force the judge to intervene, all the bluster in the world cannot save you. So where does this leave Trump's legal situation? In worse shape than before this witness took the stand. That is the simple reality. Whatever defense Trump's team was trying to build, it just got weaker. Whatever confidence the defense had in their approach, it just took a hit. Whatever impression the jury had of Trump's side, it just became more negative. Witness collapses do not happen in isolation. They affect the entire dynamic of a case, and the broader implications are significant too. If this witness could not handle cross-examination, who else on Trump's witness list might have the same problem? Are there other people the defense planned to call who might crack under pressure? Will defense lawyers now be more hesitant to put certain witnesses on the stand because they fear another collapse? The ripple effects of what happened extend beyond this one testimony. Future witnesses are watching too. People who might be called in Trump cases, in this proceeding or in others, saw what happened. They saw a witness fall apart. They saw the judge intervene. They saw the public attention and the criticism. Some of those future witnesses might now be more reluctant to participate. Some might be more honest in their testimony because they saw what happens when you try to maintain an unsustainable story. The collapse has consequences beyond the immediate case. The courtroom is where reality catches up with narrative. Trump has been telling a story about his legal problems, that they are political persecution, that the evidence is weak, that he will be vindicated. But in a courtroom, you cannot just tell a story. You have to support it. You have to call witnesses who can withstand questioning. You have to present evidence that holds up to scrutiny. And when your star witness collapses, when the judge has to clear the courtroom because things have gotten so out of control and the narrative falls apart too, I will be back with more updates as this case continues and as we learn more about how the witness collapse affects the overall proceedings. Because this is not the end of the story. This is a turning point. The question is whether Trump's legal team can recover or whether this moment marks the beginning of a broader collapse. Stay tuned.